the best concept is absolutely no concept. I think that's exactly how it works. All right. Do you find women sexy with masks on?
Well, what kind of mask?
No, like the today's men, not like a Freddy Krueger or like a okay, either one. Whichever one you want to go.
Because I've got this fantasy with a Michael Myers mask, but
you know what though? There's nothing wrong with that because that at least you have a fantasy, but it's not like it's too creepy. She gets to be the murderer. That's fine.
That's true. That's true.
If you're wearing it, that's scary. You're giving her power. That's very woke of you, Joe. Good job. Way to be there. You're like, I'll be the damsel in distress. You kill me. That's fine. No, but all we see is all these women and men, obviously. So even if women, are people finding other people attractive wearing masks? Have we already gotten so used to it that you can look at a girl and not notice the mask?
That's the greatest question I think I've ever been asked in my entire life. Because I've always, let's just do it. So I've always had a thing for Chinese women.
Me too. I don't know what it is. And now we're supposed to be mad at them, but they're great.
But a lot of the videos that I watch have Chinese women in them, and it always starts with them meeting somebody in a mall or something, and they already have a mask on. So I think I'm ready for the transition to regular American women.
Have you ever been with a Chinese woman, though?
Man, I wish, no.
Well, I was going to ask if you have. Are they really blurry when you take their pants off? Or is that just in the video? It's like they're wearing masks. They're wearing masks. They got big foot for private parts. It's a good time. It's all just.
I guess it's just a mystery, isn't it? You never really know. But their face looks like what anything looks like.
But that's why you like them, because they're so mysterious, these Chinese ladies. They're just so great. And then one guy chomps on a bat and ruins all our fantasies. Now we can't do anything. One bat chomp. Why can't you just calm down? Don't eat bat. Like, even if it's delicious, chill out. You know what I mean? It's like, how did you eat one? I've been saying this forever. It's the worst sci-fi movie plot I've ever heard, but we're living it. You would never watch that movie on Netflix. Guy ate a bat. Nah, I'm good.
You probably will now, since we've watched everything else on Netflix at this point.
Right, but at least that movie, you hope it would be cooler. Now, what happens? Well, everybody kind of just stays home and doesn't work. Are they hurt?
Everybody just stays home.
Yeah, we just don't work. and some people
get to work. Scariest thing ever.
Yeah. Everyone doesn't get to work? Well, no. Like, meat packaging people are important now. And, like, the guy who owns the package store, he's a hero. And nurses make TikTok videos. Like, what? That's what they do. Nurses make cool videos because they're working hard. Well, how do they have energy? Well, because they're not really working hard. And we're supposed to feel bad for them because what they're dealing with, people coughing. Not 4 months ago when they watched some 4-year-old get in a car wreck from a drunk driver and saw his foot severed off. We didn't feel bad. We weren't clapping for him then. But now we're supposed to be all fucking, yes, we salute you, nurse, because she watched an old man cough to death. They're supposed to. They're old men. That's what they do. They're not heroes. They took a job. I didn't think firemen were heroes at 9/11. Not all of them. They couldn't all be. The one in Iowa was getting blown because 9/11 happened. That's not cool. He's just
I never really figured that out. Did you know this about bats, though? Speaking of,
yes.
Did you know? I learned this, and I've always wondered about this. So, if you get rabies, you die.
Right.
Like. The only time I was aware of that is we bought a house, and I woke up one summer morning, and this bat was like crawling towards me on the floor, and we had 2 little girls, and so I didn't know if anybody got bit or anything. So I took everybody to the doctor saying, hey, we got bats, and everybody might have rabies. We need to get shots. And the doctor was like, well, do you know if anybody got bit? And I'm like, no, she's a baby, so she wouldn't be able to tell this, that, and everything. He said, well, you got 2 options. He's like, 1, you could just chance it, or 2, she gets rabies and dies.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Rabies is the scariest one. You got rabies and you're foaming at the mouth. It's over. There's no.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it was like 100% mortality.
I think they just talked about this. I want to say it was on Joe Rogan or something like that. They literally just brought it up, and they were like, it's very scary that you could get rabies, and you literally have like 12 hours. Like if you catch at the very beginning of it, you can do it, but if not, you're done.
Isn't that crazy?
But no one talks about rabies. And But we're all scared. That's the scariest thing I've ever heard. A dog can bite you. First of all, you scared me in that story because I don't know if you meant to do it. You said we had 2 girls. And I'm like, oh, no. Oh, no. He's starting off with, hey, here's an interesting fact. My child died of bat rabies. I'm like, okay. I didn't know.
We said, Doc, let's do an experiment. We'll give one the shot and we'll see what happens with the other.
It's like, and now I have a vampire child. Those are real. It's great. No, I would never want to bite a bat. I've never looked at a bat. I mean, not that I look at live animals and think they're delicious, but we're at a point now where you look at a cow and you go, I can see that being a good burger. Like, you definitely can. I can look at a chicken and say that looks plump. I could say that, but I've never looked at a bat and thought, soup. Soup so good the world could die. Like, that's good soup. I think he made a wish. You ever sit there and you're like, I'm so hungry, I could kill for some soup. And, like, maybe he made a wish, and then, like, because they're Chinese and they have magic. So, like, all of a sudden someone's like, here's your one wish, but everyone's dying. It's like, well, who's really going to die? Well, old people and people that don't breathe good. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't like those ones anyway. They're always ruining my day. If you go to a movie theater, who ruins it? Somebody with a breathing apparatus and an old man going, what? So, like, that's what we get rid of them. We don't need them at the movies. Thanks, COVID. You made my movie time better.
Well, that means I'm going to get it because I'm the guy who talks during the entire movie.
No. Well, I only can see from video, but that's just part of your nature. But it's not your fault. But you're talking, not asking questions. Like, what? You're giving out plot points.
True.
Like, watch out, that guy's behind you. Like, you know what? In retrospect, you're a good person. That's not. I mean, maybe someone should tell you that there's a script and they know, but
they know what's happening. Don't worry. Calm down. It's all taken care of.
Actually, this isn't probably the first time they've even done this. They've actually done it a couple times, and this is the best version of them being scared. I don't know if you know that. Turn around. Watch out, Megatron. Optimus Prime's right behind you. It's like, we love yelling at robots because they need help. They need help. These fake robots that aren't real.
So it's officially a bat. That's the verdict.
Oh, I have. Okay. I hope you learned one thing. I have no official stuff.
What are the theories that you have?
Well, I've heard my favorite one is the one where this was manufactured by the Chinese to get back at us. So I don't know how they made it, but they made it. They sent it to us. They have the vaccine. All right. Oh. At one point, they will sell us the vaccine. We'll all take it as Americans, and that's when they kick on the 5G. And the 5G melts your brain because whatever the vaccine was a thing that gets triggered by it, and then they win, and they own America now.
Jesus, that is intricate.
Yeah.
And that's like that Will Smith, Jason Lee movie. Remember that?
Yes, unfortunately. I do remember that. It's very, very in there. It's a theory that I think is fun, but I think at the end of the day what happened was this happens. Sometimes fucking disease spreads and we don't know shit. We shouldn't be getting mad at anybody for not knowing how to react.
Yeah.
Listen, yeah, he sounded stupid, but we all kind of thought, I wonder if I drank a little bleach, it would clean. We've all had that thought. We were all 8. We weren't now, but I mean, it does clean. It does kill all germs.
It does kill all germs.
I've drinking some whiskey and things that you probably shouldn't have put down your throat.
Oh, for sure.
That's a poison. That is, but we think it's okay. So why not? What if I put bleach on ice? Maybe some cranberry juice in there because that kills venereal disease. It could have saved the Pope if he had it because he had that one Pope who died of a fucking yeast infection or a urinary tract infection. Put cranberry juice in the bleach. A little Clorox and Cran, and then you have a nice drink, and then you're safe. That could work.
There's got to be a way to dilute it. There's got to be a way.
But what I think he was doing, I think Trump was trying to make sure. Listen, he's getting in trouble for the first time. Even his supporters are like, you're not handling a pandemic well, who was supposed to. But even if you vote for or not vote for him, Trump's very good at controlling his people. He knows how to move.
He is great at controlling his people.
He knows how to support. He's one of the best arena acts in the world right now. He bigger than Kevin Hart. He crushes for hours, and he destroys.
I love him.
He's hilarious. You never want to follow him.
He's the funniest thing on earth.
Like Shane Gillis says in his act, you'd never want to follow him. Fuck that. I would never go on.
It's 1,000% true.
If you're on a showcase and Trump shows up, you hope he does like the Seinfeld set and does 30 and you get bumped. You don't want to go on doing 5 after that. But what I think he was doing was, yes, he kind of fumbled. He's trying to come up with answers and stuff. But I think in a way he was probably going, I'm going to say something so dumb that my defenders are going to stop questioning what I'm doing and fight for me because I need votes right now because they're going to vote for someone else. I still think Trump's going to win, but they might vote for someone else because he's the one sitting during this time. And you're like, okay, if we change people, maybe that'll make us safe. It won't. We're going to be fucked no matter what. And I think we're all going to be outside in a month and then back inside in November anyway. It's going to have because we're all going to be retards about it. We're all going to run out there coughing, being nuts, making out, fingering, everything I'm supposed to do while wearing masks. We're going to have gloves on.
I haven't stopped.
You got to wear a mask. You got to wear it, right? Because you got to put a mask on and then you can't. But you walk inside and you move your mask, you drink a coffee, you put it back. People are doing that. I've seen them. They're like opening the mask. I like the people that yell at us about it. Like they've always known about mask etiquette. They're like, you fucking moron. You don't realize that your gloves, if you touch other things and then you put the gloves back on, you've touched everything. It's worse than hands. It's like,
it's worse than hands.
Like you just learned that too, asshole. Like don't yell at me. You didn't always know gloves. You didn't fucking wear gloves. Shut up. I'm learning.
I know nothing about any of it.
Yeah,
I know nothing.
I just know that I can't. I don't drive. I have to take a bus. I have to wear a mask on the bus. I'm like, the bus is already gross. Like, we're not gonna make it better. But we're all there with masks on. It's weird. But like, I got back to the beginning. Now I think it's okay to notice women's and men's body parts again. That's what's good about this. Before you couldn't admit, like, oh, you know, Jill. Which one's Jill? The one with the big tits. You couldn't say that now because of woke shit. But now with masks, we can't go. Oh, Jill with the bigger nose or like the crooked teeth because you don't know what the fuck her face is. Like, who's Jill? The one with the big tits and the red mask. Like, oh,
the
Jill.
oh yeah.
Hey, I know
Jill.
Yeah, mask. You're gonna reveal the mask, and you could trick. This is gonna be the new catfish. Move the mask. You got like jagged teeth. You're missing.
You got something there. You got something really good there.
It could work. We're never gonna have a chance to be on stage again with it, but I gotta use it now.
That's a TV show right now.
Are you gonna do COVID bits when we get back?
Man, you know what?
How do we not?
Man,
it's the most relatable thing we've ever gotten to talk about. The whole world knows about it. It's a topic we all can talk. It's like when someone dies and someone tries to make that joke online. Like someone's like, oh, I better tell a Kobe joke. And you're kind of like, oh, don't. But you kind of, as a comic, you get why. Because you're like, as a comic, we're always wanting to relate to everyone universally. And when a tragedy happens, you relate. So when the pandemic is, everyone of all races, of all creeds, everyone knows about this. They're living it. But at the same time, everyone's going to be doing jokes about it. Everyone.
I already had a guy tell me that he's tired of hearing COVID jokes. Like it's already hacky. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I do it.
Right. Well, it's hacky.
I'm a hack. So
yeah. So own it. Hacks fucking kill, Joe. I know you know that. They destroy. Hacks are. I mean, listen. We all know a hack from where you probably have one that, we have a bunch of Connecticut.
Everybody's got one, yep.
But they crush. And they aren't. I hate when someone calls an old comic. Like someone who's like 60 years old, that's not a hack.
I 1,000% agree.
They're like, that's an old joke. I'm like, that's an old guy. It could be his joke. Lenny Clark, who's like, legendary. I remember I was doing a show with him years ago, and another comic said, oh, I've heard that joke before. And I go, yeah, it's probably his though. He's
from
that
him
old.
on TV.
Yeah, I heard that in the 80s. Yeah, he said it in the 80s, but he's still saying it now. I understand the theory of a hack. I understand somebody doing jokes in their first couple of years, finding something that just crushes. Something that local comic who can mention that store down the street, the mayor, the street light that every blinks weird, and everybody's just like, yeah, you're fucking hitting all my senses. It's crazy. And the people are exploding and they're like losing their shit and they're all just having boners and orgasms and they're loving it. And a comic gets them to do that every night. And then it's like, oh, I should write new jokes. He's like, well, why would I abandon this? And that's what separates, I think, the comics who become lifers and the comics who stay local. I think the person that that gets that crutch and goes, I'm not changing this. I love this. I don't want to do it again. It's like, I don't want to go through that process. It took me a lot to get there. To me, the best part is shedding that joke skin and writing a new joke and going up there with the fear of this might not work, but I'm going to make this work. I'm going to put months into that. I enjoy that more than that when you're on stage, everything's hitting. I like that struggle and learning and that rawness that you can see the audience going, I know you got something, give it to me. I'm like, I don't know how yet. I'm fucking trying. I love that more, but I get the hack mentality.
So I couldn't agree with you more. The thing I kind of like was, and I'm serious right now, I was kind of like forced into being a hack here in my hometown because so when I decided I wanted to be a comedian, really this is exactly how it happened. I was dating a girl and I told her I was a comedian. She said she wanted to see my show. So I said,
You weren't a comedian yet? Oh, that's
nope.
awesome.
So I'm like, uh-oh. So I go over to my friend who owns a bar and I'm like, can I put on a show at your bar? He's like, whatever, I don't care. So so I put on a comedy show just for one girl, right? The place sells out. I make $350 that night. I'm like, this is easy. 5 years later, I still haven't made $350 again.
How much time did you do?
I did like 15 minutes.
Wow. So you had to book a show? Like you got other comics?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You didn't know anything about that.
I knew nothing.
There must be like, what the fuck is this? Was everybody there to see you?
Mostly, yeah. Mostly anybody I'd ever known in my entire life.
How much did the headliner hate you?
The headliner.
You still know him?
The headliner ended up. This was also his first time. He's now
what?
He's now an agent in California though, and I'd call him for connections for comedians.
But that was his first. How much time did he do?
He did 30. You should have done about 6.
So
you should have done about 6.
Yeah, you both should have done about 6.
I should have done 3.
Who was the middle guy?
I was in the middle.
Oh, you weren't even hosting.
Yeah, no.
Wow.
I didn't put in 20. I didn't press this girl.
I like how you wanted to impress her, but you thought it well because you're like, if I headline, that's too much.
Oh yeah, no, that would turn her off.
I don't want to go too deep, too hard, too quick. You know what I mean? I want to ease in. I'm gonna finger before I fuck. You know what I mean? I'm the middle, but I could headline. I'm just working out new shit. You know what I'm saying? What did you talk about? What did you do? You didn't even know how to write a joke.
No, not a clue. So then I start going to the local club, which is closed down now. So I think we can say its name now. So I go to Snickers, and they bring me into the fold, and then I'm in like real comedy. And I'm like, oh, you can do 3 minutes this week, and maybe next week you could do 5. And so when you're like compacting, because I thought I go up, I try new stuff, and I leave because again I know fucking nothing.
Right.
And so they're like, no, do that joke that everybody laughed at last week or get less time. And so like they kind of like the clubs, if you start in the clubs, I don't like starting in the clubs because they kind of mold you into, I don't know, like a 1990s comic where you're not going to get any work today in this day and age.
They want you to be what works for them. They don't care about the hardest thing about dealing with. And I love the fact that there are people who their jobs and whole thing in life is to give us stage time. And that is amazing that they do that. But that being said, they're a business. We're creative. So, and I've done both. I've run comedy clubs and I've been a comic at the same time. And it's fucking the worst. I hated my life when I ran clubs and I booked things and all that stuff because you don't know who's your real friends. You're trying to be creative. You're trying to make a buck here and there too. You're trying to figure out both things. But definitely, when I was running clubs, I would book people that I knew would fit in that club.
Yep.
And then I would obviously try to book people that I also thought were funny, but it made no sense. We had a rowdy, loud crowd, the place we were. So if I tried to bring in like a comic who does one-liners and needs you to focus, it would make no sense. He would fail or she would fail. So why would I do that? And people are like, well, you're only booking this way. So I kind of get why a club does it, but I always tell comics, take that advice for that show. But at the same time, don't be afraid to push away from there and go, no, I got to grow as a comic. I'm not going to only work here. Some comics get caught up in the idea of, well, I'm going to work at this club forever. Like, no, you're not. You're going to do this for like a month or two, and then they're going to go find someone else, and you're not going to do this. Don't build your act that only works in one spot.
Did you have a radius though? Because our club had a radius that you could not perform within 60 miles of the club anywhere at all, or you got blacklisted.
We had that for headliners. I was running it, and I did not allow that for hosts and middle because I was a comic. The owners were like, yeah, if they can't perform, like it was like 30 mile. Connecticut's really small, so it was a 30-mile radius for us. But I was like, I said to them, no, you can't because we'll never get anyone good. And the young comics that we want to get better need to go and get more work.
Exactly.
I go, if anything, we want them to get more work other places. And because we're the only comedy club and everything else in the area was more like, producers just booking one-offs and stuff like that. When they say they're doing a show, people are going to Google them, and when the one time they performed where we are, that's going to come up instead of that shit bar and grill. So it almost helps us out anyway. So let them get better and get stronger. Headliners also, I had that rule in the contract, but I was
Yeah.
I played it at certain times. If I knew you were somebody that could draw, if you're someone that goes on the local radio normally, or is just popular, I've been a long time, yeah, I'll enforce that 30-mile thing because I want to get your tickets in. But if I know you're a headliner who's very funny, but you don't draw shit, which is most of us, I don't care. Why would I care? You know what I mean? Like, most of us don't draw shit.
Which is
We
99% of everybody else.
Right.
Yeah.
Most comics, once you get I always tell people, like, once they get funny, you say goodbye to your friends because you don't have friends anymore. They're going to be there for the first couple shows. They don't give a fuck, and they don't want to hear you talk about your jokes. They don't want to hear that at all. Hey, did you hear how I changed that bit? It's like, no, I didn't notice you said the instead of is. Fuck you. I don't care. It's you can't draw. Please come to my show. Like, why? Why do I have to come here? I don't want to see it again. I saw it. It's like, they had no draw, so I'm like, just go up and be funny. But like, it is a hard thing to change that. But the hack would go up and destroy, and then the young comics would watch and go, oh man, maybe I should do local. Like, no, you keep doing what you're doing. He's on the way out. You're on the way up. The world's different now. But no, why do you think you said you were forced to be a hack, but how are you a hack? Are you doing shit jokes? Are you just like, hey, airplane food? Because I actually, I'm a professional here. I checked out a clip of you. You're not a hack. I enjoyed it. I laughed. I still would have had you on because why not? It's the quarantine and I need guests. So let's do it. But you're not a hack. But I know what you mean. When you started, you probably had to do safe things, not stolen things, but generic ideas that are safe. Yeah. You know, it's like, hey, where you're from, like you probably mentioned.
What color am I? Huh? Am I black? Am I white? I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what? That's a fun one. How do you not do it? See,
I've been doing it for 10 years though.
But you know what though? But you've looked like that for 10 years. Like, if you were performing for the same crowd every day, then I'd be like, don't do it. But there's always someone new. And here's the thing. A lot of young comics don't think about this. Whenever you look like something or you have a look that makes people think, it distracts from your words. If you don't bring it, I hate when a comic, like we had a comic when I was first starting, he doesn't do it anymore. He was like 5 feet tall, but his face, he looked exactly like Phil fucking Collins, which is not a look you want at all. Like Phil Collins did the best you're going to do with Phil Collins' head. It's the best you're going to do. No one's going to do better than that.
I think I know this guy.
Well, he's only from this area. If you have a Phil Collins, I hope there's a bunch of Phil Collins doppelgangers out there trying to do stand-up comedy. Play the drums, you dickheads. That's what you're good at. That's what Phil did. But he would go up there and like he had a joke about it. But like if he didn't say it right away, literally people in the crowd would go, Phil fucking Collins, and just scream it at him. Genesis, fuck you, look at your face. And just scream it. And he's like, so he's like, I don't want to. He goes, but is it hacky? I go, it's not. There's nothing you can do. Your face screams Phil Collins. Like, you have to say it right away. You have to do a joke about it right away to get it. When you go on stage, people are going to sit there and go, is he this? Is he this? Is he? And while they're doing that game of guess who in their head, they're not listening to your opening bit. So it's distracting. You have to say it. Now, I don't go up. But if I go up there.
Oh, sorry. That's what the club taught me. That's what the club taught me. Like, bring that out first. They said always address the elephant right away. You'll get them liking you, and then you can go into more stuff you want to do.
Audiences are sponges. They take in everything. Some comics don't realize that. Like when a comic starts a joke and he likes to like do a lot of setup and segue, which I think segue and transitions we're just done with as people because of the internet. Now we don't need it because we are the segues and transitions now. You go on stage. Old comics would talk about, well, I was talking about bowling, and now how am I going to get to this joke about my job? It's like, speaking of knocking them down, hey-oh, my boss, he's an alcoholic. Like, they had to do that because they weren't talking about themselves. They're just doing dumb shit. Nowadays, what are you talking about? You're talking about yourself. So if you're talking about being with your kids and a minute later talking about, going to the movies, you don't need to make a segue because it's just Joe. And when you talk to people, you don't do segues. When your friends are like, how was your day? It's like, I was at the grocery store and boy, are my arms tired. You're not doing that shit in conversation. So
I'm going to do that now. From now on, I'm going to actually segue real life.
Yeah,
or just that challenge is so tempting.
Or always just use the same one, and boy, are my arms tired, and just move on. And speaking of sandwiches, like what the fuck are you talking about? Segues for no fucking reason. But no, I think the problem is now that a lot of comics don't realize, so they start setting things up and they give too much detail. Like if there's a joke about, there was a comic I knew who had this joke where he was talking about being on Facebook and going through news feeds. So he was like, I remember back when I was, when I used to love waking up every morning, having a cup of coffee. I'd read the New York Times. I'd go through the New York Times. I'd read all these articles. I didn't disagree with some, this, that, whatever. I'd have toast. I'd do that. So the other day I was looking at what I think my newspaper is now, my news feed, and then the whole joke's about one thing he read on Facebook. And I'm like, why the fuck did you just talk for a minute about all that other shit? He goes, well, that's how I used to do it. And now I look at that. I go, yeah, that's great. You can go, hey, Facebook newsfeed's today's newspaper. Anyway, boom, that's all they need, because when you gave them all that shit with the toast and the coffee and that, the audience takes all that in. They are sitting there waiting for the reveal. We're magicians. Yep. They're waiting for – absolutely. They are so stupid. The people in the audience are the stupidest people in the world. Think about it. You and I are at home creating ideas where we're making up things. And they're like, I can't do that. I'll just listen to the guy do it. And then they go out and they take their wife and go, hey, remember how we used to talk to each other? I hate that. Let's go where we have to be quiet. And they sit there. And then we just yell out our dumb thoughts. So they don't know how to take shit in. They have no clue. So what do? We sit there and we tell them something, and we give them too much info. When the joke's over, they're like, what happened to the toast? And they don't get the joke. So when you put out too many distractors, too many clutter words and things like that, they get caught in it, and too many comics get caught up in that. The same way with descriptions. If you go up there right away and you look the way you do and you don't say something to it, they're going to sit there, and during your first joke where you're trying to gain their trust and uncross their arms, they're going to be thinking about what the fuck you are. And so you got to just go, I get it. I don't know what the fuck I am either. I think my mom fucked everybody. Anyway, I'm Joe Deez.
That's pretty much it. That's you nailed it. That's because
you're a hack. I figured you out, Joe. I watched the video.
It's easy to get from point A to point B when you're a hack.
All right. So we've been on this podcast for about 25 minutes now. You've done other podcasts before, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Am I the first person to wait this long to ask you about getting punched? You know it's got to happen. I looked you up, and I'm like, ooh, I didn't know he had this tidbit. Do you get asked about it all the time?
All the time, man. All the time.
What a dickhead. I've almost been punched. I've seen punches, but, dude, I don't care. There are times you can watch stuff like that as an outsider or a comic and go, I can see both sides. I don't even need to know anything else. I can tell you right away that he's brand new without even watching it. He'd probably done comedy like 6-7 times.
He was.
So because those people want to, they're edgy. They can't be snot. You tell me I can't do this, I'll do this. And you can also tell he had people there with him. He had friends because he had that swagger of, I don't give a fuck because I'm entertaining them. I'm their hero. They're going to talk about me and go up there and do that shit. And for people that haven't seen the video, go look it up. Joe, you should have boxed because you got up quick and you fucking kept going. You got hit. You popped up. It's so professional, keeping it going. I wouldn't have said his name, but I get why you did. I would have said I would never give him his name. I was the next comedian, but I get that.
Everybody says that. I don't know why I did. I guess I was just
because you just got knocked the fuck out, Joe, and you were just trying to figure. No, you ran it more professional. I'm saying that because I'm thinking now, in the moment. Without a doubt. Like, I have gotten in an altercation one time. I was hosting an open mic, and I got in an altercation with somebody fighting with someone off stage while someone else was on stage. Literally had to grab this kid. It was a crazy thing. There was a white kid on stage.
Yeah.
And he said the N-word.
Oh.
But he was doing it in a joke, whatever. And I knew there was a kid sitting in the back who I knew he was from Haiti, and he got very angry very quick all the time. And I could tell the way the joke was going.
He pulls out his machetes, ready to go.
Without a doubt. Who's the captain now? I can see. I could tell by you're like listening to a joke, and you could just tell.
Yep.
He's not. No, he's not. No, here it goes. And he did it. As I could sense it, I walked over, and I had run this club, so I was walking to this guy. I said, "Hey, man, chill. I have a feeling he's like, nah. I'm gonna fuck him up. I'm gonna beat him." I'm like, that's not gonna. I go, you could do that outside of here later. That's not gonna help. And I'm telling you right now, if you go up and try to fight him, I'm not gonna let you on stage. And he's like, and he just goes, no, I'm not doing that at all. And he kept saying, you can't call me that. And I said, I'm not trying to be a dick, but you're from Haiti. That's not your word. Like,
you're right though.
That's for the Americans. That's for the ones that were brought here and treated like pieces of shit. You don't get to have one. Yeah, there's a lot of. Listen, Haiti's way worse. Your guys are super gross. But like, we don't need you here. Your most famous guy was that midget in the 80s, the Hades Kid. He was a wrestler. Look him up. He was very
the Haitian kid, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Well, they've got Wyclef Jean now.
Yeah, but he's still not better than the Haitian Kid.
No, he's not. You're right.
He'll be gone to November. It's fine. So anyway, so like this kid starts, he starts getting really upset. And then I said, man, just relax. And he looks at me. Then you could tell he wanted to take his anger on somebody. So he's not even listening now. So he turns to me and goes, get your fucking hand off me. And then he grabs me. So I turned around and I grabbed him by his throat and put him against the wall. As this kid's still performing on stage, I'm in the back area. The bartender walks over, tries to pull his arm off me. He's still talking shit as I'm pressing into his Adam's apple. I'm like, all right, I could definitely kill you right now. I'm not going to, but stop talking shit. He's like, once you let go of me, I'll fuck you up. I'm like, what are you doing? How Haitian are you? Let's calm down. So I let go of him, and he goes outside. And then I have to turn around, let go of him to light the comic, and then walk
Professional.
over. Yeah. And then I went up. Everybody watched the fight, and I go, how about that last performance? Huh? I go, not mine. The guy on stage. All right, how about him? And your next comic is book. And I went right in. Everyone's like, dude, you just kept it going. You knew who was next. I'm like, yeah, we got to keep it going.
The light. I like how you're just holding this guy off and you're flashing the light.
Got to light up.
Did you do the wave too with the hand?
Oh, without a doubt. Don't go over. If I'm doing my job, you do yours. You better not go over, or I'll choke you the fuck out. You know what I mean? So another comic, like 3 comics later, was trying to like dig at me. So he starts pretending like he's gonna say the N-word to see if I can get in a fight again. I'm like, dude, I can see him doing it.
That's funny. That's funny.
But I did say the last comic's name. They weren't in the fight, but I did mention the comic. I get you doing that. That's your host senses kick in. You're just like, all right, I still have to keep the show going. And for you being, if you were fickle, if you were, an asshole about it, if you were like, fuck you, passive aggressive, you wouldn't have looked like the victim, which you 100% were. You would have looked like a dick. So you're like, no, I'm running a show. You don't matter. What you did just doesn't matter. Go away. I did like that he yelled, the other guy got to swear 100 times. I'm like, and the first thing I thought was, the other guy's good. That's the first thought. There are rules. The
other guy was a 25-year vet, yeah.
Who knows what
he's doing me a favor.
Right. And he'll swear, but he knows how to make it work. Your swears are going to be the punchline. His swears are going to be the enhancers. There's a difference in how he's wording it.
Yeah.
And he's having fun. He probably swears in a way where you're like, you almost think he's clean. There's comics like that. They're dirty. And you're like, they have a certain way they sell jokes. And you're like, oh my, that guy's clean. And you're like, oh, no, he's not. I talk about sex nonstop. He just doesn't say fucking. You know what I mean? So it's okay. But that guy, I mean, first of all, the move where he slapped your hand, I'm like,
he throws the microphone.
Oh, that's what it was. He threw the mic, and then he.
So I go to look to because it's my brand new microphone. I just bought that microphone. So I'm like, don't tell my microphone. And while I'm looking at the microphone, he just goes bam right on the side of my face.
And I feel that as a comic, you're like, I care more about the microphone. This is not a brand new head. I've had this head forever. Like
that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Two regrets that I have from that. One is I wish I'd have got on camera faster because that guy's jacked. And he hit me pretty hard.
Yeah, he wasn't a skinny bitch. That was a guy. Listen, he's punched people in the head before. You weren't, because he hit you. He knew when you were going to be turned. He had that whole swing. That was a punch he's thrown. You could tell that's the only punch he's got. If you were fighting squared up, he has that round thing. Like he has to.
Yeah. He wouldn't win in a prize fight.
He's taught his hand how to hit a side of the head.
Yeah.
Like he has no idea how to go straight on. He's a very good side of the head punch guy.
But my first regret is I didn't get on camera faster because the only reason it took me so long is because he knocked my contact out of my eye.
Jesus.
So most of that time I was looking for my contacts.
So when you got up, you're like, eyes are watering. You're like, no, it's my contacts. I'm sorry.
No one believes me. I promise it's my contacts.
Ugh.
And the other one is I wanted a quick comeback.
Yeah.
After what happened, but I couldn't think of anything. I was like, what can I say? I'm like, I got nothing. So it was just like, that was awkward.
Yeah, okay, so what was the ones you thought of after? There's definitely
I didn't. I've never done that.
Really? Because I always walk away.
Back and say, oh man, I wish I would have said this.
Well, I would have said like,
lights out for you, fella.
I was like, well, the bright side is at least tonight it wasn't his wife. That's what I would have said. Here's to you, Melissa. You get a night off. And I think it would have hit. It would have hit well.
Those don't go over in the Midwest.
Neither does punching the host. I think. Imagine if you got you caught shit. Joe Deez, you know him. He's a advocate for wife beating. It's like he got punched and he made a joke. I don't know his wife. He's not married. He's not married. He's black. They don't get married. You know the rules. I'm fine. I did it.
So
Joe's daughter died from a bat bite. Leave him alone.
Right.
Earlier in the podcast, she died.
Man, that guy's when I so I was gonna let it go, right? I was gonna completely let the whole thing go. And he goes on Facebook immediately and starts making up this story about how I was saying things to him.
How the club doesn't want to deal with him, throw him out, all that stuff.
Yeah.
They're all jealous of how good. I didn't read anything. I'm just telling you. All jealous of how good he is. Oh,
Yep. And so I was like, all right, after 3 days of nonstop, and he's tagging me in this too. So I'm just like, fine, I'm just going to drop the video and then let everybody decide for themselves. So I dropped the video.
Who was taping? The club just tapes?
Yeah. Yeah,
it was a perfect shot. I mean, I was like, it was almost to the point like, is this set up when I watch? I'm like, oh, the club must have a camera because it was dead on.
That's what they thought. They thought it was set up. So I take it to the police because I'm tired of this guy.
Right.
Like he's like saying things about me and my wife. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna file charges. And so I go. First of all, the cops thought it was hilarious, and then secondly, this guy's record was terrifying.
Oh,
that man shouldn't. He does. I think he still does like in his car YouTube videos and like Facebook videos and stuff.
Where he should.
But man, that guy should not be in society.
He reviews snacks now. He's like, oh, you like this Taco Bell new chalupa? He really knocks them out. He just does that all the time. He just punches it. I'm sure he does it. He punches the tacos. Like, yeah.
He still sends me random messages every couple of years or so.
Happy anniversary. He doesn't do comedy at all now?
He does. He does comedy videos like Facebook and YouTube videos. So.
Yeah. That's the weird, the craziest thing about stand-up comedy is that anyone can start doing it. It's so weird. There really isn't anything else. Yeah, I guess if you're a musician, you could just go to a music open mic, but you've got to learn a skill. You've got to learn how to play a guitar or do whatever. Comedy is so weird because if anyone says they want to try it, all they have to do is find out where an open mic is, literally write their name on a piece of paper, and they're going to be allowed to be a comedian.
Here they are.
And then that's the weirdest thing. That's why a lot of young comics get frustrated when there's no one there to guide them or no one to ask questions, or they don't ask questions because they just start doing open mics and they think that's what comedy is.
Yeah.
And they start doing well in their zone. They get funny in front of the other young guys and girls who started with them, and people start laughing, not because they got funny, but because you got used to what they do.
Agreed.
So you start going, oh, that's the best version of what that person can do, so therefore they're funnier now. It's not, you just got used to it. You can listen to a shitty album, and eventually you start singing the songs because you've heard it enough where you're like, oh, that's the best one of this shit. Like there's definitely a tallest midget, you know what I mean? Like, he's still a fucking midget. So they start doing that, and then someone tells them about a showcase or somewhere or a comedy or a place to send a clip in. And they send that in, and for the first time in their life, they hear no. Because no one's ever told them no, because everything else was, I write my name on a paper and I'm a comedian. I can just show up anywhere and I'm a comedian. You can't say no to me. So that's when they get pissed off. They go on Facebook and they go, this club sucks. They're racist. Like, you're a white guy. What do you know? They're racist against white guy. Like, they're not. No one is. We win. We won everything. But like, so they get all upset and then they do that. And I've seen so many comics do that. And then some of them already know they're not bad. They're no good when they start. And that kid felt like someone who already knew he wasn't any good. Yeah. So therefore, I need to do something nuts every time. I need to be the guy who pulls his pants down, or the guy who screams out a profanity, or the guy who, like, you know, takes his shirt off, or there's a guy in New England who wears a diper on stage. And he doesn't even talk about it. He just goes on stage with a diaper and he just tells
Andy
jokes.
Kaufman stuff?
Yeah. But Andy was funny.
Okay.
Yeah, you're just doing, like, I never understood. Like, there's a guy I know who takes all his clothes off and is in his underwear, and he thinks it's a funny bit, but it's the first thing he does, and he has one joke about it. And then for 4.5 minutes, he's just in his underwear.
In his underwear?
And I was saying before about if you look a certain way and you don't address it, they're not listening. No one's listening when you're looking at someone's weird mole under their nipple, or like they're like at the treasure trail down to their parts, the way their body's all built, they're flabbed. Even if you're chiseled, they're still looking at that. No one's looking. That's why you shouldn't wear shorts on stage, because people's legs are weird.
Wear shorts on stage.
You look at shorts And then you see the hairy, like you start looking out people's legs. Knees are weird as fuck. You're looking at a knee. You ever just stare at a knee for a while? It's a weird fucking thing. And I can stare at a knee for 5 minutes and miss your entire act. And I'll just clap.
What? Huh?
Oh, yeah. Your knee is great.
So one question that I've always wondered is what makes I don't know what else to call him, but like a regular person decide to do comedy? Because for me, I loved comedy since I was 5. I used to listen to Eddie Murphy on cassette tape when I was a kid on loop. And then it was Dennis Leary when I was a teenager, and watch Saturday Night Live every single week. So I actually was always a comedy lover. But these people who just go up and say, oh, yeah, my friends say I'm funny, I'm going to be a comedian. Like, what motivates them to do that?
The attention to stand out in their group. I think that's what it is. Their group of people are saying they're the funny one. There's the hot one. There's the funny one. There's the smart one. There's the work ethic one. They're all some version of Friends. There's 6 of them, and they're all fucking telling each other what they are. And that funny one he buys. He drinks the Kool-Aid. He buys into it.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I think most of the people we see that start off at open mics, though, the ones that end up doing it for a while are people that weren't the class clown, that weren't the funniest person out loud in front of other people.
Agreed.
They had these thoughts. They had these ideas. They looked at the world in a queer and peculiar way, and they were almost afraid or told to shut up about it. And then finally they find a place where they're like, I'll try this. I think I could do this, but I'm probably going to be no good at it because their self-esteem is low.
Right.
And then they go into a room and there's 20 other versions of them. And they're like, oh, wait. These people don't mind if I make fun of a funeral or if I joke about this thing. They're not thinking it's dark. They're actually telling me a way to make it better so more people get my darkness. And they find their way in. The person that's doing it for the popularity contest or just for the video to put up or so they can write comedian as their job on Facebook, that person, once they have to go to an open mic, they're done. They do bringer shows, they do showcases, they do anywhere where their friends can come. But if they have to do an open mic and they have to hear people not laugh, they have to just hit stares. They don't get that built-in studio audience bullshit that they love. They quit. They quit right away. They don't understand. They don't even get that they're supposed to write jokes. They're like, I just go up there and tell this crazy story about spring break. I'm a storyteller. They'll come up to you and go, how much time do we get? You're like 5 minutes, late at 4. And they're like, what? I've got 25 minutes prepared. I ran it in my car on the way here. Like, oh, was the timing good in your car? Did you use inflection? Like, what are you talking about? And what do you mean light? I just get off when I get off, right? Why do I have to? I brought all the people. I'm like, you know what? You can go last. You can do as much time as you want, but we have 40 comics and you get to go last. You can do an hour if you want. Your friends better stay and drink the entire time. That's all I fucking care about. But I think most people that end up being good at comedy, I think we all loved comedy, but I don't think any of us ever thought of ourselves as being good enough. Even the greats now, I think at the beginning were like, they knew they thought a certain way. When they got on stage, they felt comfortable. That's why I feel more comfortable on stage than off stage in life.
Yeah.
I feel like I can really express myself more. I like that I like that interaction of I talk to you, you can't really acknowledge me back besides laughing or agreeing or being mad, but you got to shut your fucking mouth. And that's fine. I enjoy that. Oh, I said something out of my head, applaud me. I like that. And then afterwards, they can come up to me and go, you should have said this. I'm like, you should go away now. We did it. We did it. That's how we talked. I don't want to talk to you afterwards. I think that's who does comedy. That person who then, once they get involved in it, they realize they fit and they find their way to navigate through. I always loved comedy. I always was someone who thought, I always think funny first. And that doesn't help you in real life. Because it destroys you in jobs. It destroys you in relationships. My mind only works when I'm allowed to be the guy who's, as quote unquote, why are you always on? I'm like, well, I'm not trying. This is the only thing I got. I talk like this. Yeah, I'm seeking attention. All you want is attention. Yeah, I'm on stage yelling at a microphone. I wrote jokes about my butt. Yeah, I want attention. That's what I'm doing. I'm on a podcast. I named it after me. I want attention. That's what I'm doing. So do you. You have a Facebook page. Everyone in the world wants attention. You have a Facebook page. You have a Twitter account. I can find you. What happened to when a creep had to search hard to find someone? I can find a girl at a show because she tagged it, because she checked in. I'm going to see the Pat Oates show at Mohegan Sun. But you checked it. I found you. You're done. I can kill you. I'm not going to, because that would that would take me having to go find you, and I'm lazy. I'm not going to
you're
go
not
do all
going to
that.
do all that effort.
None.
Yeah.
So how is comedy where you are? Is it before all this happened? Is it flourishing? Is it a good comedy community? Is it like a bunch of fucking, there's some good people, there's some shitheads? Is it easy for anyone to perform, or do you have to be like in with the in crowd? What's it like?
Man, wow. So I think it's kind of like pretty much any town. But so I don't know about you. Do you still work at the clubs?
Oh yeah, I do clubs.
Do you like still run clubs? I mean, though.
No.
Okay.
I got away from that. I'll never do that again. I'll help book once in a while. I'll help people because I have the connections to get people booked. I can't anymore. I can't focus on my jokes, my funny, by doing that. I think if you're running a place well, you can't focus on your act because you got to make the place run well. And I also hated the way people treated me. I want you to hate me for who I am, not for the job I have. You know what I'm saying?
I booked for a long time, and then I couldn't stand the booking because it took away from like performing, like you just said. But so like obviously comics come in waves, right?
Right.
And so the thing that is strangest for doing it as long as I've been doing it now is all these young kids are like, hey man, why don't you come to the local bar for the open mic? And you're like, why the fuck would I come to the local bar for the open mic? And they're always like offended that you won't come on share a stage with them. And it's like nothing personal, but what benefit do I get at that point?
You know what benefit you get? And this is funny. A lot of comics that are doing it as long as us will say that to me, and I go to the local open mic. You want to know why?
Why?
Because the young comic starts putting on shows. The young comic doesn't know anyone that can do 45 minutes. And finally, a veteran, the one they start to like think, oh, they won't talk to me, they're better than me, is hanging out with them. They feel like one of them. I get work on the nights I don't have club dates because I'm doing the guy's bar and grill. The young kid him and his 4 friends all want to do their 5-minute sets, but they got to do an hour and a half show. I get paid, and I can get money out of them. They don't know. I mean, I don't rip them off, but I can get a budget out of it. And then I stay relevant in my local while I'm still traveling. Because we start getting good. Some people get comfortable in doing the club things and the bigger shows and don't want to go do that stuff. But I like working on stuff. I also always think of an open mic like in Rocky 3 when Rocky's all down and Apollo's like, come to my club, come out to LA, and he goes there and everyone's hungry and they want it and they got that passion. I want to be around people who fucking care. Because it makes me write and do stuff. I like going, but it also gets me work. But also, I get to see some young comics. And then a booker hits me up and books me for a gig.
I love to watch. I definitely love to watch, but I don't like going. I don't like going out.
But another thing that helps me out too is it does advance me in other way. A guy I know will book a show and go, "Hey, I need a host. Do you know anybody?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know this kid." And no one else knows that. But me saying that gets me in favor with this guy. Because then that kid goes there, does that. The kid feels like, wow, you didn't have to help me. Thank you. And then when he goes and books something, he hires me. The guy who booked it, he sits there and goes, wow, Pat, thank you for that. That's cool that you've got a connection to that. Hey, we're going to do this showcase. I'll throw you $200 to host it because they're all terrible. And I need you to do 45 in and out throughout. I'm like, all right, I'll take that on a Wednesday. Why not? I go it because it's how I stay relevant. Instead of emailing people 1,000 times and bothering them, I'm in their face. I'm right there.
First of all, you just made me feel like an elite piece of shit. So
you are. I was trying to put you down. I was trying to put you down. You're a little. I have good friends that started when I started, and no one knows. But no one knows. The young kids don't know they exist, and they'll say to me, "Oh, my calendar's a little light." I'm like, "Go to an open mic." Go to a showcase. Just do 5 minutes. You're going to fucking be so much better than anything. Even if you're not trying, you're going to be so much better than anything they're seeing that they're going to flock to you. You're the hot chick. You're going to walk in.
The difference between you out where you are, where there's a lot of talent, and I'm not saying people are not talented. I'm not saying people are not talented here at all. But here, it's where I live. It's a smaller town. And so an open mic is going to be an open mic. We can't sustain a comedy open mic. So it's mixed poetry and acoustic music and prayers.
Perfect. There's 2 reasons why I go to that one. One, because you're going to get so much material watching these other people do this dumb shit. You know what I mean? And number 2, there's no better. When we go to a comedy open mic, and it's just comics usually. Well, sometimes the clubs will do it and there's going to be a little audience, but if you're an audience member at an open mic, you're an alcoholic, or you're just lonely and scary, and that's where, I mean, pedophiles have to go somewhere at night, right? And that's fine because it's 21 and older, and then you're safe. Everyone's safe. But open mics aren't usually good. If you can kill at an open mic, you're not going to do well on a weekend show because you're making the wrong type of person laugh. You're not their senses of humor aren't the same. They don't mesh. You're supposed to work on one thing at batting practice so you can be ready for the game later on.
Sure.
And when you go to an open mic and it's all different kinds of things going on, they don't understand jokes as well. But when I have a story I'm working on, I go to a music open mic. I go to a poetry open mic because they listen differently. They're used to listening to lyrics and words. So they'll give you 5 to 10 minutes because what do? They go, well, every musician gets 3 songs and every poetry person gets this. So usually with a comic, they go, I don't know, 10 minutes. And you're like, okay. And
you're like, sucker.
So you go up there with this story that you know is not ready yet.
Yeah, that you can't put in front of a comedy audience.
And then I just record it on a memo thing.
Yeah.
And I take that and then I write it afterwards. So I'll take advantage of that because the audience listens differently, and they're not waiting. They're not waiting for a joke or a punchline. They're happy I shared, man. Way to share the story, man.
Exactly. And that's what you get too.
And then they afterwards talk to you and go, whoa, man, I could never do what you do. I would love that. I'm going to tell people I know a comedian, man. Where are you next? And then they fucking post it. And then musician fans, they like going out to shit. Comedy fans are assholes, and you can't get them to go anywhere.
Have you not? That is so strange. Right, you can go see your friend's band a zillion times, play the same songs. It'll still have all his friends will be there, but you can't get
you want to know why?
Friend to come see your set.
Because while you're on stage playing guitar, I'm drinking and hitting on people.
That's true.
A comedy show, I have to be quiet.
You have to sit there
and I have to pay a cover that's probably higher than the other one. I have to buy 2 drinks. I have to sit there. I have to watch other people that aren't you.
That I don't even know, right?
No, and I've already decided they're not as funny as you. And in my mind, this is a contest, so I can't laugh at the rest of the show. And I'm going to fold my arms, and I'm going to go, not funny. And where's Joe? Where's Joe? I like Joe's jokes. Joe's jokes are better than your jokes. You're not funny. What was your name again? Gaffigan? I've never heard of you. Never heard of you, Mr. Gaffigan. You're not funny. Joe's better. He should be on TV. You suck. Hot Pocket. That's what he does.
I like how I'm going on after Gaffigan, by the way.
Yeah. You're going on after Gaffigan. You did well because you booked the show. Because
okay, that makes sense.
You got Gaffigan the host, and then you're booking it, and you got to go middle because you're still not a dick.
Right.
And then the headliner's the guy who punched you because you're trying to make amends. It's a good show.
That's how I want to die. That's how I want to retire. That setup.
Having Gaffigan open for you.
And then the guy who punched me close out the show.
What's the budget? The bar guys, what's the budget? Can I have a couple $1,000s? My host needs it. And you could just let me, and if you could just take a picture of me with Gaffigan and tell everyone that I headlined and he opened for me, that'd be great. Because then I can get more work.
Oh.
And then you tell people that Gaffigan, I love those people that do showcase shows and like a good comics there. And then there's like 10 comics and one really good one shows up, does a set, and someone goes on next. They're like, yeah, I worked with Jerry Seinfeld. Yeah, opened for me, Kyle Kinane. Like, no, he didn't. He just showed up and did 20. He doesn't know who you are. You didn't open for him. He didn't open for you.
That kind of counts. Does that not kind of count?
No, it does not count. Because, okay, so you're the guy booking the show, right? I send you my resume. I send you what I've done. And I write that I perform regularly at Gotham Comedy Club in New York, and I've worked with Kyle Kinane, I've worked with Daniel Tosh, I've worked with Jerry Seinfeld, I've worked with Gilbert Godfrey. I'm naming all these names. You know all the names. You're like, wow, he must be good. It's like, oh, so what do you normally perform with them? Or here's better, you're booking a place, and maybe you had Gilbert a couple weeks ago. So you reach out to his agent and go, oh, do you know Joe? He's the guy who opens for Gilbert. It's like, who the fuck is Joe? I don't know Joe. Who's Joe? I've never heard of Joe. Joe who?
Yeah, but the question is, this is how I determine if I book you or not. Do you have, like, when you send that email, do you have little logos of TV stations that you put on there?
You got that? You got BET? Yeah. You on BET? You got that? You got Comedy Central? Were you on it? Were you on their website? Is that where you were? Were you in line were you on American Idol as a chicken? Like, what did you do?
America's Got Talent. Everybody's been on America's Got Talent.
Everyone, yeah. They're in the audience like, they're just doing that thing, and it's fine. No, here's the way I always did it. If you send me a clip and just say, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I would like to be considered to get work time at your club, please contact me if you're interested. That's it.
Yeah.
Don't send me a fucking bio yet. Don't send me your avails. Don't message me a week later. I have things to look at. I need time. I will look at it. If I want you, I will message you. You've put it in there. You've given me a little teaser. I check out the video. I look at it. I go, oh, not bad. I'll message you. And then avails, we talk other shit. But
Yeah.
when you're like just like hungry as fuck, you message all that shit. I perform here. I've done this. I do that. I've got 12 minutes, 15 if I stretch. I've got this. I can do crowd work. I can do all that. I can do all this stuff. I can. My uncle owns a news station. I can go on there and promote it, but it's only at 3 a.m. And I don't think it's in your area, but still I can do it. And you put all this shit in, and I don't answer it because I have a life. And also, you sent it to my Facebook Messenger at 3 a.m. Super unprofessional. I'm just at home trying to be a human. And then at 5 a.m., you're like, I don't know if you got that last message. I've had trouble sending messages, which you haven't. You're just lying. And by the time I wake up at 9 a.m., I have 5 messages from you. I hate you. I don't want anything to do with you. I think you're the worst person. You haven't even done. You might be hilarious, but you're nuts. And you're telling me all this shit. And I'm going to hire the next guy who sent me one email that said, "Hi, please consider me." I'm like, you're in. I don't even care if you're good. We all lose our minds.
Here's what I've realized through this podcast is our club closed down 4 or 5 years ago, and now it's like the wild, wild west. And everything you're describing, I learned because I worked in a club. And I now feel bad for all these people who have absolutely no club experience whatsoever.
No,
because they think they're hustling. What you just described is them thinking they're hustling, but they're shooting themselves in the foot.
They're not. The problem with comedy is that, once again, no one teaches you how to be professional at it.
Yeah.
So it's however you handle your life. If you're a hustler, you're going to try to hustle that way. But you're dealing sometimes, a lot of times when you first start out, you're dealing with other comics that are booking you. And comics, that's the hardest thing. If you're a comic and producing shows, you're still going to be comedy selfish first. So when someone's asking you for shit, you're always kind of like, well, I want shit. And I know that if I ask someone for a gig, I would want I want them to book me.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I want to be professional in that regard and do so. I always tell young comics, don't treat it like they're your friend. Even if they did, always ask someone, if you don't know any other way to contact them. If I don't know how to do anything, I know you book a show, Joe, and I'm like, I want to find out. I might send you a Facebook message. That's the only way. And all I would write is, can I please have the contact info for booking considerations for your club?
Okay.
That's all I'd write. And then you could either say to me, oh, hey, you can send it through here, or here's the email, or hey, I actually don't know. I don't work there anymore. That was 5 years ago. Please leave me alone. I don't know you. Whatever you want to say, you professionally do that. And then you send them an email, one email, and that's it. I think the problem is a lot of these comics don't understand how to do it. And what helps, yes, you and I both booked shows. We ran places and we hated it. But man, does it make us better to book.
It does.
Because when people book us, we have a respect and an understanding of how the whole thing works.
Absolutely.
We're not ever going to, you and I are never late. I can guarantee you that. When they say it's, be there, the show starts at 7:30, you're not there at 7:35. You're there at 7, probably 6:30.
Yeah,
coming in early. You're asking. I always ask, look, I don't want any questions when I get there. When I get there, I want to focus on my jokes, and I know you need to focus on your wait staff getting out, your drinks getting out, the club running. You don't need me asking you how much time I'm doing, what if I'm hosting, if I'm middling, when I'm getting paid, where's the green room, all that shit. When you book me, I ask all those questions right away.
Yeah.
And I always have a rule of thumb. If you messaged me and said, Pat, are you available March 14th? I know right away in my head I'm getting paid because you looked for my services. So I'll say to you, yes, I am. Just wondering what the spot is. How much does it pay? I ask right away, how much time do you want out of me? How many shows is it? And if you're like, well, it doesn't pay. And I'm like, well, I appreciate it, but I'm going to keep that date open to Saturday for another paid gig. If I don't get anything and you're not looking for anyone else, maybe I'll hit you up for it, but I don't want to say yes to it because of that. If I hit you up, hey, Joe, I heard you booked Fred's Bar and Grill. Can I do time on your show Saturday? And you go, sure, why not? The next question shouldn't be, how much does it pay?
Yeah, but you get that like every time.
Every time. and like, you know what you can do? You have to go first. You have to bite the bullet. Why do I go first? I'm better than that other. Like, that other guy was booked on the show. I'm doing you a favor. Stop now. Don't get into a negotiation with me on this. We understand all that stuff. We understand that, don't go bothering the manager or this or that, whatever. Don't stand in the back and talk. We know, we find out where to go and sit if we want to watch the show. I'll ask everything. Do I get free food? Do I
Yeah.
get drinks? Because I don't care either way. I just want to know when I go there. I'm not bothering you for this, that,
Right.
whatever, or ordering food from the waitress and realize I have to pay and I walk out. You think I'm an asshole walking out? Like, well, I was never given a check and I'm in the green room and I didn't know. What's the rules of your club? Is there things I can't say? Am I going to have to punch a guy? Like, I know that there's certain things I'm going to need to know. But I always ask those questions first. When I get booked, people don't worry about me because they go,
Right.
he's run places. He knows what he's doing. He's not going to go over. He's not going to hurt the show in any spot you book me in. If you want to book me as a host, if I'm open, I'll host. I don't care about – we're not good enough to have levels.
Yeah.
The word headliner means you're in the headlines. I'm not Bill Burr. I hate when a young comic says, I'm a headliner. No, you go last, motherfucker. That's what you do.
you
talk
the show.
You talk the most. You're a headliner by default. You're just the guy we went last because we don't want – it's not that people can't follow you. It's just that you're weird to follow. Like, you're the guy who talks about how you might be a child molester for 15 minutes. That's not fun. We can't lead with that. Someone's eating chicken fingers, and that looks like a little penis, and we can't do that right now. You got to go at the end when they're all digested and they feel okay.
What's your favorite spot?
Obviously, middle for a national act. Because if you're at a club and you're the middle and the act is known, the headliner's known enough, then it'd be super known, but just even if it's just kind of known, they bought the ticket for them. The most people that go to shows usually aren't people that go all the time. Yeah, you get regulars, but for the most part, people that go to comedy clubs go maybe once or twice in their life.
Yep.
So when they go, they don't know a lot about how comedy shows work. They watch Netflix and they see one comedian. Now, they know that sometimes they hear a voice bringing someone up. I think a lot of people know there's a host. Now, most people don't think the host is a comic.
Yeah.
They're like, you should try comedy. You were good. What do you think? I think this is Denny's? I'm not sitting you down. What the fuck? But the host, they just go, oh, whatever. Then they're waiting for the headliner. And then I walk out. I get to do 25. And I close a lot of local shows, so I've got 45 to an hour easily.
Yeah,
I'm getting to pick the best I've got. And there is no expectations of me at all. When you do that spot at the end of every show, there's going to be at least 5 people. If you did your job, they're going to go, you should have headlined. You're like, that's fucking ridiculous. You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. Yeah. I'm not Tom Segura.
Have you ever said that to somebody?
Oh, many times. I'm like, thank you, but you're ridiculous. If I was headlining, you would have told the guy opening for me he should have headlined. That's how this works. You liked me because I did well for an amount of time you didn't know existed. And I didn't have to give you all I got. I didn't have expectations. I just gave you the greatest hits. And that's all I did. And it's a cake spot. If you fuck up as a feature, you're not ready. You'll never headline. Because if you're featuring, you should already be able to headline locally. You should already be closing down. You shouldn't be the guy who's like, well, I think I've got 25 minutes. Then you're not a middle. You can't do every joke you got. That's not going to work. They're not all good. They don't fucking make sense. It's like I never understood why we have the setup we do. I think that a young comic, I know why it is. It's like a hazing thing. It's like a ritual. A young comic hosting is dumb to me because hosting is very important. I think the guy who's the middle act should be asked to go first because he can start a show off well, but you have him do 25 up front. He goes up there, or he can do 20 and he can do 5 in between if you wanted to mix it up that way. But he's the one that can go up there and do that. And if comedy clubs cared about comics developing, you would take that young comic. In that way, they don't even have to have 15. They can have an awesome 10. They're going to go right in between a professional at a local level and a professional at a national level. If they suck, it can be saved. But if a young comic goes up and hosts the show and doesn't know how to start a show and tries to do crowd work for the first time or weird local banter or talk about the bathroom or tell the waitress he's going to fuck her or make fun of the guy for going to the bathroom and pooping, all that dumb shit they do and then fuck up someone's name, that comic's so nervous. They're so afraid to perform. They're like, they're thinking of their jokes, but they're also thinking of the 8 things the manager just, by the way, mention the chicken fingers, mention a Heineken special, mention this, don't do that, don't go over.
Right before he walks up.
Yeah, he's like, I just learned my act. I'm trying to do 15 minutes. I can't remember the punchline. I'm fucking blanking out, and I got to remember all this dumb shit. But a middle act who's been doing it a couple of years, you tell me that stuff, I'm like, oh, that's fine, whatever. Birthday, great. I'll work it into one of my bits. I don't care, whatever you want. Then the host, the young kid should go up and do 10 to 15, and he'll flirt. He only has to focus on his act.
Between the feature and the headliner?
I think that's how it should work.
That's fascinating.
I think the feature should go first. The host kid should be second, and then the headliner, because that he's allowed to develop his time. He's learning sets while being in between better sets.
Yeah.
Going up first, he's so nervous, and even afterwards, he's not watching, he's not learning anything. You put him in a safe space where he can shine and do the best he can do. Because those young kids, some of them have great 10 to 15-minute sets until you get all of a sudden, it's like he's swimming and he's good at swimming. And then you're like, hey, today we're going to tie your left arm. Like, what? Yeah, we're going to see if you're good at swimming with your left arm tied, but you better win this fucking race or we all lose. Like, why? Let him swim. Tie my arm. I've been swimming for a while and I've got one strong arm because I jerk off a lot. I got it. Let's do it. I've never understood.
Have you ever tried this?
Jerking off with one arm? No. I'm a two-hander. I churn butter. That's a good. I have in the past, and it does work. But the only problem is, you have to know somebody who's a middle that doesn't have an ego,
right?
Because they take it because they've been taught that a young comic, a hosting comic, a young kid is waiting to become a middle.
Yeah.
That's his next step up. He wants to go there. So he wants to get away from that stuff. So all of a sudden, if you're like, hey, can you do this? He takes it as a demotion or he did something wrong. And it's like, no, I need your strength. I need you to make this show good. Why am I asking someone who's not ready to go out into the battlefield when you're a soldier? You know what you're doing. Get out there. But you got to know someone who can do it well. I like a lot of times to host a show. I've been hired to host a show but do more time than I've hosted a show where I did 40 and then like the headliner did 40. And then like the middle guy did like 10. And I didn't book it. People are like, we want you to do that, but you do like 25 up front and do 20. I was always like the host and the middle with like a guest spot in between. I like starting the show. That's what it was. It was like one time I did a show where I hosted it and then the middle didn't show up. I was waiting for him. So they're like, they would keep going. So then I did a middle set. And then at the end of that, I got the light and they went, the headliner's not here either. And I did an hour 30. I did an hour 30, but kept doing closing jokes because I didn't know my set was ending. So I had to like restart and do it. Was so fucking weird. The crowd was like almost like cheering me on like I was Rudy because they're like, it was good. There's like, how is he doing this? Like, I don't fucking know. But I was explaining to them, like, you guys aren't going to believe this, but that other guy, he's not here either. They're like, what the fuck?
That would terrify me.
It was fun. It was. Yeah. I like that fear. That can I pull this off?
True. Very true.
Also, what were they going to yell at me? I wasn't prepared for this, and they paid me all 3 pay.
That's the thing I was going to say. I would expect all the
I didn't expect all 3. I thought they'd throw me like 100 more. I thought, listen, be business people. Don't give me all the pay. But they were paying cash. Like, we don't care. Whatever. Just don't tell people. Just don't tell people we did this to you. I'm like, all right. Sorry. So what are you doing now for comedy? That you're feeling? When's the last time you performed? My last time was March 14th. It's the last time I was on stage. So it's been over a month now.
It's awful. March 1st.
So it's been a long time. Was it a good show?
Oh, yeah. I closed it. I closed out the show.
Nice.
It was a great crowd. It's one of those – it was a small town in Michigan where they don't get comedy a lot. Those are my favorite, those small towns.
Yeah.
They really appreciate it.
They're so happy you're there. My last show was all in upper state New York at a place, and it's called the Silo Restaurant. It's almost in Canada. It's on a farm, and it was 5 hours from my house. We went out there. I went with good friends. My son, who's 14, came with me to watch the show. Yep. The guy that owned the place was so ecstatic just for us to be there. The audience was. There was a weekend right before everything shut down. It was that weekend. So people that they had seating for 100, but like 60 people came. So like, some don't want to go. I'm like, this is still awesome. And they all felt like we were all in this together. I did an hour and people were just cheering on the moment. And I love those. It was a great way to close. If I did have to leave on one note, I'm happy it wasn't some bomb or something that I was just like, I'm not happy with, or the audience was assholes, or I had to deal with a shit guy not paying me enough, or a shitty gig. I'm happy at least the memory was good. But now doing more podcasts, trying to create other shit, it's kind of filling the void.
It is. It definitely is filling the void.
Not exact. I'm missing it, and I'm noticing that. My personality is not the same. I need comedy, and I need my children in my life. And I'm divorced, so it's like they're not always with me. So like, if I don't get to see them all the time, I feel a certain way. If I don't get to have
exactly
comedy,
how you feel. That's how I started.
If I don't have comedy, I also same thing. I feel a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my question is, what are pedophiles doing now? They don't have the access to kids. They're not at school. They're at home.
God.
They're done. What do they now? Listen, I'm not saying I'm worried about them, but how are they filling that void? Disney Plus?
I wasn't looking for a joke. I was just immediately terrified because I'm just thinking they've got all this pent up pedophilia semen inside of them that's just going to overload once the school's open.
I don't think their semen knows as a kid they're going into.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know.
The semen comes out and goes, aren't you like my age? The semen's like, you're 1 year older than me, dude. You're not supposed to be here yet. And on that note, Joe, do you have anything you want to plug? Can they follow you anywhere? What can they do? First of all, thank you. This is fun.
This was a blast, man.
I'm very happy that you just reached out. I love that. I'm sure you've done that before. People are like, fuck you, who are you? No, that's fun. It's fun. It's a cool thing with this quarantine. 2 comics. We don't know each other. We obviously have a lot of things in common, stuff like that. And this was a fun conversation. Thank you so much for coming on.
That was a blast. You've got, have you done radio?
Yeah.
You got a great radio voice.
Only for the last couple of months, though.
Really?
Yeah. I'm told I sound like more retarded Seth Rogen, which is fun, I guess.
Oh, that's sad. I'm told I look like O.J. Simpson.
Look like. I'm saying sound like.
Yeah, but old O.J. Simpson. He's like 40 years older than me. They say I look exactly like him today.
Yeah, and he's killing it on Twitter.
He is killing it on Twitter.
He also killed it in another way too. It's like, his wife.
He is hot.
Already killed his wife.
I do remember this.
I get it. He got away with murder. He got away with murder. Everyone's like, why is he smiling? You know that saying, you got away with murder? He did it for real.
Literally.
He killed him. He killed the woman, and he killed the guy fucking his wife.
That's
a good feeling. That's a good – he won the Heisman Trophy. He got to be in movies. He got to kill his wife. That's everything you want to do. He's living the dream. Let him go. He did it.
Just let him play golf. He earned it.
He's playing good. Let him talk about his fantasy football team and talk about how he wants to murder them because Saquon Barkley didn't run for enough yards. I'm like, don't say
in a restaurant.
Murder.
Why is he always in a restaurant? I didn't understand that.
Who's sponsoring OJ?
Right, exactly.
It's the same guy who books Screech to headline. He's like, yeah, he draws people. Him and Skippy from Family Ties are doing a double headliner. And then the two of them argue about who gets to close it, and then Jimmy Walker shows up and goes, I close it. Like, all right, Jimmy Walker, you win. I've opened for all 3 of them.
Have you?
Oh, yeah. My career is good. So
you're a lucky bastard.
Oh, yeah. Where can they follow you?
Oh, shoot. No, so basically, like a crazy man, I built a stage in my garage.
Nice.
So
That's the videos I was seeing. I didn't know where that was. It's like a cool like space thing.
So I've got a 2-story garage, and the second story of my garage is there's like an area that goes up because we had to put in garage door openers. So we had to raise it up. So naturally, I'm like stage. So I've built this entire stage, and I'm making videos, doing new bits every single video, brand new stuff. Because it's basically my own personal open mic, so I can say whatever the fuck I want. And so I'm asking a lot of friends, so I would love your advice too. Every video, I want to try to improve it so it feels more like this idea that I'm going for. So it's arcade comedy. If my jokes don't land, I want like some sort of punishment. If my jokes do land, I want some sort of reward concept. Because there's no audience that tells me that this works or doesn't work. So
I like
it's
that
weird experiment.
It's a comedy. There's a guy named Jay Nog, and he puts on a comedy show. He used to called Paid or Pain. I don't know if you ever heard of this concept. He was doing it all over the country. He had a dominatrix come to. A young comic would come on. So like if you were a comic that was like known in the area, like I got to do it, I wouldn't be on the show. I'd be a judge, and then me and another comic would be sitting at a table. So you're on stage performing. I'm sitting on a table behind you. I have a microphone too. I don't talk during your act, but you go up and you do 5 minutes, and the crowd decides if you're good enough to get paid or you get pain. And then we comment on their act and stuff like that. But of course, it's like Roman, gladiators. The audience wants to hurt you.
I absolutely love it.
Sometimes they cheer people on, and then there's a wheel of pain, and they spin it, and then the dominatrix does something to you. It's crazy. And it made me think of that. Like, your thing's better because there's no audience. There's no anyone. It's just you, like, I wonder if this was good.
Yep.
Please let me know. And you're dealing with the internet, which is way meaner than people in person. They could do. Oh, I would do that like live through like Zoom. You could almost do it like, you know what? You guys want to see me get hurt? It's $2. Here's a link. You pay the $2. You get into the Zoom room. I give you the link, and you do a room of 30 people, and then they get to vote live if they fuck you up or not.
That's perfect.
Pay a couple bucks. Don't charge a lot, but I'd pay $2 to hurt you.
I'm gonna add that to it, but yeah, that's
I'm definitely gonna check it out. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much, Joe, for doing this. I really appreciate it. I'd love to have you back on sometime. That'd be great to talk to you again. Done, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you, brother.